Hey, what's up, YouTube again? This is part two of my kind of review, I guess, of different equipment that I use and maybe compare it to a few other things. Already I went over bands, straps, wrist wraps, knee wraps. I believe I touched on boards. Um, I think that's about it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of spend some time with the bench shirt. That's probably the main thing most people ask me about. So I'm probably gonna spend most of my time with that. And if down the road somebody has any question about any other gear or whatever, please send me a message or video respond, whatever, what your question is, and I'll do my best to answer it. So let's start off here with this Titan F6. It's made by Titan. Um, this shirt isn't mine. It's one of my buddies, AJ. It's too big for me, but I'm familiar with it quite a bit. This is more of a beginner to intermediate shirt. It's a shirt, I guess, used for. I mean, it's not as stiff as some of the other shirts out there, but it still gives you enough support compared to some of the older technologies out there. It's definitely a lot better than some of the older Inzer technologies. Obviously, Inzer invented the shirt, 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was. It's changed a lot since then, bench press shirt. And so, I mean, in the last 10 years, this is vastly much better than that. This shirt can give you probably 100 pounds on your bench press if it's fit right, or maybe even more. I've heard people even getting up to 200 pounds, so it's possible. But this shirt is definitely not as durable as some of the other shirts. Definitely doesn't have the same kind of stopping power. It doesn't require as much weight to get the board or to get the bar to touch your chest. In this type of shirt, it's a little more flexible material. The cut is a little different. It's a little more less aggressive cut. The way the seams are cut into it, the collar is nowhere near as thick as some of the other stuff out there, so it just doesn't have the same kind of bang for your buck, I guess, as some of the other shirts. But it's still a great shirt to start off in. You couldn't really like take a beginner and throw them into a really advanced shirt anyway. So this is a good shirt to have on the market because without it, a lot of lifters wouldn't get to those other shirts because they couldn't get over the learning curve, I guess, to get to it. Or they would get a shirt. Maybe they could get a little smaller or a little bigger rather, so it's not quite as tight on them. But then they're not really learning how the shirt is supposed to be. They're kind of making it work, so to speak. So, and sometimes that's what happens. But this is a good shirt for a beginner, an F6 or a Fury, which is a very similar shirt to this. The main difference between the Fury and the F6 is meant for a bencher that arches their back, and the Fury is meant for more of a bencher that lays pretty much flat. Other than that, they're identical. The main reason why they're different is the sleeves are cut a little more angled down on the F6, allowing the bencher to more easily touch lower on their stomach. Because if they're arched up, they're going to want to touch down lower. If they're a flat bencher, generally speaking, most of the time they want to touch up a little bit higher on their chest. So the seams are cut a little differently to accommodate that. Alright, so that's the basic, F6. Inzer makes some shirts that are similar, in style and whatnot. I'm not as familiar with Inzer's their newer products anymore, so I couldn't really give you a good comparison of which shirts they were. But I'm a little more familiar with Titan and APT's products, so I'm going to kind of mostly stick to those. Alright, next shirt is the Super Katana, which is one of the shirts I wear. It's a more intermediate to advanced lifter, to even elite lifters wear these. There's main differences. The material is much more. It's probably about 30% thicker than the Fury or the F6. The material is stiffer, more tightly woven together. The seams are about 3 times as well manufactured and put together, way stronger. The collar on it is about 4 times the size, maybe 3 times the size. Way more stitching, way stiffer. Um, the sleeves and these things, they have a completely different cut. The seam on a F6, here I'll pull it back up here. The seam on an F6, I don't know if you can see this, but it's basically just a straight seam, just straight up. On the Super Katana, the seam wraps around. What that does is supposed to mimic the tricep muscle, wrap around your tricep, giving that much more tricep support and able to lock out more weight, because that seam is literally, when you're driving up, it's pulling your elbow out to help you lock that out. But what it can do is, if you're not experienced, it can make you do that too early, and sometimes you have to fight against that for a little bit, because you might, if you drive out too early, you can end up dumping the bar towards your face. So I mean, it has advantages, but just like I said, it's for more an experienced lifter. This has an angled sleeve. They make this a straight sleeve too for a flat bencher. I'm an angled bencher, so the sleeves are angled down. The arms are a little more tapered as well in the Super Katanas, giving you more tricep support. Definitely more painful, but you can have them custom tailored too. Flared out or even shortened a little bit. Take pressure off the tendons in the low elbow here. If you wear a shirt a lot, like sometimes I get right below, I guess, kind of the funny bone area, there's a tendon there, and sometimes that gets kind of sore on me from wearing it so tight. The chest plate, which is right here, middle of the shirt, tends to be smaller and more compact than the Super Katanas, so they stretch a lot less. They take a lot more to get to the bottom. So that's the main differences there. And lastly is APT's Apex shirt. I have 2-ply of it, so it's much thicker. God, the first time I wore this, I believe it was almost 700 pounds in the bar, or I got up to almost 700 pounds that day, and I could barely move it, like probably 4 inches. It was so intimidating, and so it's such a strong material that it took a long time to break in to where I could get any kind of handleable weight really down near my chest. I still to this day haven't really got any real good successful touches in this. And what I mean by touch is actually be able to bring the bar to my stomach and touch. I don't know if I'm just not strong enough for the shirt yet. It's probably it. But it's definitely a very advanced shirt. It's also 2-ply, which I'm still benching primarily single-ply in competitions. So I'm really not ready for 2-ply, to be honest. I probably will be in the next year or two, but I still train in it sometimes. It's nice to get something different. And it's also nice not to wear out my single-ply shirts, because they're kind of expensive. I'm lucky enough they sponsor me, APT, so I get these free. But Titan doesn't, so I have to buy their shirts, and that's primarily the shirts I use. So anyway, that's basically a breakdown on bench shirts, and I hope that helps. If you have any more questions, send me a message, video, whatever. And please subscribe to my blog. There's a link on the side there. Check it out. So have a good day, man.